What's the dark side of high performance nobody really wants to talk about?
A lot of people, they focus on gadgets and they create a Frankenstein protocol. I believe in resilience, and I believe in your network, your inner circle.
Welcome to a new episode of the CEO DNA, the podcast that explores the habits, mindset, and strategies of high-performing entrepreneurs and leaders. Today's guest is Noah Laith, also known as the longevity biohacker or the longevity architect. He's a former data scientist and a very successful entrepreneur who turned his passion of helping people and being in peak performance stage to help people to be in more clarity, have more energy, and of course, live longer. His minimalist but very sharp approach helps high achievers to avoid burnout while maximizing focus and being super fit. Let's dive into Noah's mental frameworks, daily protocols, the do's and don'ts, the strategic routines that drives sustainable peak performance. Noah, welcome to the CEO DNA podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So you work with so many CEOs all over the world, have clinics also all over the world. What is for you a good DNA of a CEO? When do you see they are really successful? What is the characteristics good CEOs have?
So usually when I integrate what we know in the clinics with a high achiever, it can be a CEO, it can be any type of entrepreneur, I always look at how they look at health. Is it something that they do 3 times per week, or is it part of their identity? And when they don't have that identity, we just stack enough pain points and into the future, extrapolate that in the future, so they're just aware of their habits, what they're doing are not quite healthy. They're actually very dangerous for their future and for their family. And by changing that identity and their awareness and their knowledge, they just make better choices. So it's mostly on identity level.
You work with CEOs and also with, let's say, sport professionals. Do you see any difference between them when it comes to focus on health?
Yes. They are both top athletes. One is on the mind, the other on the body and the mind. Top athletes also need to have the right mental clarity and power. The only difference is that a top athlete is from the moment they wake up until the moment they sleep, focus on their body, on their nutrition, on their sleep, on their recovery, while CEO or high achiever think it's only on the mind. So they have less, like they adjust less and allocate less time for their health. Only when they change, the 2 things they do, they usually change their partner, their wife or husband, or they change their inner tribe. And only when they do these 2 things, they allow themselves to change their identity, because we are social animals, and if everyone around you is drinking and smoking, you're going to do it eventually too.
We met last weekend for a workshop, and you said one of the most important decisions for your health is choosing the right partner in life.
Totally. Because it's like playing golf. You make micro decision every day, and on a 20-year span, it's just 1%, 2% on 200 yards. It's going to be a different life even.
Right. Because I think that's interesting in business to choose the right partner, and also in life. How do you choose the right partner?
I mean, for each one of us is different, but I did, when I decided to marry, I researched, is there a science behind finding a partner? And apparently there was, and I borrowed all these mental models, how to choose a partner and what you're looking for a partner. And actually, I learned that from Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett. One boy in the meeting, in the shareholder meeting, he asked Warren Buffett, so how do I choose a life partner? And he said, well, are you looking for a beautiful partner? Are you looking for a smart partner? Are you looking for a wealthy partner? No, you're looking for a partner with low expectations. And I was flabbergasted when he answered that. He is one of the richest, if not the richest man in the world, with very high expectation from himself, saying, no, you have to choose someone with low expectations. And I realized that when you come home, you don't want to have another job. You want to come home and relax. right? So that was one of the different switches that I had by choosing a partner. Someone with a low expectation doesn't mean, by the way, a low standard.
Very important. I just wanted to add this.
Yeah,
exactly. So I fully would agree if you just add the part to keep high standards and to support you to be the best version of yourself.
Exactly.
That means if you want to go running tomorrow morning, to not say, "Oh, sweetheart, just stay in bed. It's fine."
Exactly.
You know.
No,
and,
let me go with you.
Yeah, exactly. Let me go with you. Or what we did. Let's look at the sunrise. You know. I mean, who meets up at, I don't know what time was it, 5:30 a.m. And you said, "Hey, let's look at the sunrise." And also what I love, when we met actually the first time, when we said, let's meet up to do sport together, it's directly also, we can talk and we can do sport perfectly, number one. And I realized how much you like to go in the data science, how you really like to take things apart and look at them. Hey, what are the 20% that makes the 80% outcome? Or what are the 20, 80, 20, 25 times? What are the 5% that make later on the big outcome? Was it always in you?
Well, when I started studying AI, one of the things that we learn is pattern recognition. And with AI is now the last 2-3 years becoming very hot. But when I studied AI, that was 20 years ago, right? And even 20 years ago, one of the things that we had to program were neural networks.
Right.
And neural networks is you put data in it and it gives you patterns that you by yourself were able to see. A simple example is the fact that beer in supermarkets are near Pampers, diapers, is not by coincidence. They put all the data, all the receipts of people buying, and they saw, hey, people who buy diapers buy also often beers. So they put them together. And everything what you see in supermarkets, in big chains, is not by coincidence. It's based on pattern recognition to raise the amount, the AOV, the average order value of someone entering in a supermarket.
Super interesting. Before we go deeper, a quick note. 48% of watching haven't subscribed yet to the CEO DNA podcast. If this show brings you real conversations with real leaders and visionaries, then joining the CEO DNA community helps us to bring even more powerful minds on this show. We don't run ad, we don't chase noise, we build conversations that change how founders and visionaries and people think. So if you want more of that, then please take a second, subscribe, and let's build this movement together. Super interesting, because you understand also us entrepreneurs, peak performance, people who really need to deliver, because you have been there as well.
Yes.
So before you also had already several exits. You lived around the world already. Mention a little bit. What did you do before? How was your first entrepreneurial journey? And why did you then shift also to do this now full time?
I had a real estate fund for 17 years, and I was buying distressed assets. So because of that, I learned how to manage my emotions, because I was able to buy other people's problems. And whenever you buy a problem, you need to be disassociate yourself from that problem, to look at it in a very logic way.
Yes.
Doing that over and over again for 17 years taught me a lot about human psychology, and mostly about my own psychology. Then one of my mentors, Brian Tracy, he asked me, what are you doing for free? And I told him, well, once a year, I take some of my investors to a detox retreat, to a gut reset. And I just love that. And I kept refining my knowledge. And in my hobby, in my free time, I went to medical congresses and health congresses and biohacking congresses when the word biohacking didn't even exist. So doing that over and over, I answered that question by, I love to help other people's health. And he said to me, why don't you do more of that? I said, well, I'm not a doctor. He said, well, why don't you become one? I said, well, actually, that's not a bad idea. So I didn't become a doctor. I did studied it, and I met my wife while studying it.
She thought you was a professor because he was the old one in the room.
Yes, I was double the age of everyone in that room.
It's dangerous when you know somebody well.
Yes, and I met my wife, and she is a medical doctor, and we decided to dedicate our life to make people who have already a high ambition, to make them better on their biology and on their psychology. because it's very interconnected.
Very important. I think it's very interconnected. And also you have now the CEO coming to you who says, look, I'm doing an IPO in 3 weeks. I don't want to say fix me up, but like put me in a peak performance stage.
Yes.
And you said, okay, we do this.
Yes. Yeah. We have all type of, from people who have a very hectic life because they travel from Europe to Japan, back to LA, then to Dubai, and then back to Europe. And that's 2 times per week. Well, your sleep is going to be disturbed. And they tell me, look, this is my life for the next 4 months because we are doing a merger or we are going IPO and I'm preparing. So just maybe not fix me, but make me the best version of myself, even if it's just temporary.
Yeah.
And we do that.
And we will talk about all the hints. But before I do this, I must say, I think you haven't been sick for 23 years.
In 3 days, it will be 23 years.
Wow.
Yeah, not a flu, not a cold, not anything that brings me...
And you're one of the people who travel the most. I mean, last year I was massively traveling. This year was a bit better, but you are still like, whenever I text you, like you. So how many travel days per year you have?
A lot. Yeah. And to be honest with you, this is not my knowledge. I stole that from Orkan Ibadov, which is the world memory champion. And when he came to us, he said, look, I want you to...
Who's also a client with
He's also a client, a friend, and a patient. And he asked me, look, I don't want ever gonna be sick again. And I was like, why? Like, who cares? Like, I didn't plan not to be sick. I just optimized all the foundations and I just...
Because sometimes it can be nice. You can watch Netflix all day.
Exactly.
And,
you have some soup, you get cared by your wife or your mother. And then he said, well, because the difference between number 1 and number 2 is being sick 1 day a year.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that is actually very true. He said to me, like, it's not 1 day, it's 1 day sick, but it's a whole 2 weeks getting out of the flow. And then I started interviewing other top athletes that we are training, and they said that's very true. So for me, someone who is a CEO and becomes sick 5, 6, 7 times a year, he's going to lose a lot of opportunities and money and growth and network. And so I decided to add that, especially here in Dubai.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. How do we not get sick? What was your trick in the 23 years? What are the top 3 things?
Again, another mental model that I borrowed from one of my mentors, Charlie Munger, is, he, by the way, he doesn't know he was my mentor, is the inversion model. And the inversion model, instead of saying, how can I become the best husband in the world, the best wife in the world, make a list of how can I become the worst husband in the world, the worst wife in the world, and just don't go there. The upside do its work. Same for investing, same for friendship, same for being a parent, same for everything. Most people focus on how to become better, focus of not how to be worse.
Absolutely. Manga always said, God bless him, just don't be stupid, or don't invest stupidly.
Exactly.
And I think that that's so true also in health. So to say, okay, how can I focus on being healthy by not eating always sugar and then end.
Well, the thing is, like, from a logic point of view, it makes sense. The thing is that your grandmother, ignorance was a blessing. Nowadays, ignorance is the start of having chronic disease, cellular disease, cancer, and other autoimmune disease without you even knowing it. Why? Because the health industry became a very complex machine, a very complex ecosystem, from food to the animals, from the animal that you're eating, from the vegetables, from the air, from the mold, from the airco, from everything. You're bombarded by 83 toxins daily, every human being. So you kind of have to become the CEO of your own biology. And some people don't have that time and the energy, so they outsource it to us. Yeah. And we create that protocol for that.
It's interesting. I always tell when I have people who ask me to mentor them or something, I say, number 1, have your health in order, because everything else is not mattering afterwards.
100%.
And whenever you meet somebody who had to go through a very bad disease, they didn't care about their car, their watches. They didn't even care about the business at this time.
Yeah.
And secondly is get your investments and financials in order, because things that can put also a lot of pressure on you. And lots of people outsource that. That says, okay, my health, somebody else should do, and my investments somebody else should do. And then they wonder why things don't work out. So now let's come back to some hints. What do you see like working also when you work with so many different CEOs, high athletes and high performance, and also with yourself? So let's get the basics right first,
Yes.
as I know you.
Foundation always.
Foundation means, okay, the right spouse or partner we already know.
Yes.
Then
The right inner circle.
Inner circle, yeah.
Yes.
Then
And the reason why I had a company go IPO, I became a millionaire when I was 23. I did a lot of top sport and people always told me, wow, you have so much talent. No, I don't have so much talent. I had great mentors. Mm-hmm. So my advice to everyone is always, if you want to succeed, hire a mentor. Hire a mentor that is not a consultant, someone who is there where you want to be, and just hire him. That will save you not years, decades of errors. Because it's okay to learn from errors. They just don't have to be all yours. Right? So, and a mentor will give you that speed, let's say, of execution. So having a mentor is the first one. Obviously, marrying and the inner circle, having that dialed in, and then working on the foundation. Right?
Let's talk about the foundation. Sleep.
Foundation, number one is sleep. Number two is training. Mm-hmm. And why I say training and why I say sleep. Sleep, until February last year, we thought it was just one of the things that you do. As long as you sleep 8 hours, doesn't matter. Now there is something we discovered. It's called glymphatic system. We named it the glymphatic system, which is the lymphatic system for your brain. It gets activated only between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. right? And it's the deep sleep phase. And actually what happens during the deep sleep phase is that it cleans all the endotoxins, environmental toxins, the stress that is being built up during the day. So, and it's only get activated during these hours. And that's why you can sleep 8 hours, but if you fall asleep at 1 a.m. or midnight, well, you wake up and you're still tired and you think, hey, how is it possible? I slept 8 hours. That's why, the reason is because your glymphatic system did not get activated in an efficient way. Then regarding your sport, one of our mentors is a German doctor. His name is Dr. Kruger. And Dr. Kruger was the Anti-Aging Society Director of the United States. And what he found out during 42 years, that he'd split tested many group of people, but one group of people that was smoking. These were smokers, but they were training. And he analyzed them comparing to non-smokers and non-training. And they outlived the non-smokers. Wow. So training, if you want to have the lowest ROI, training is the highest ROI and lowest hanging fruits.
What does it mean, training? So training. How much?
Yeah, that's a very good. Training is not running. Training is not any cardio. Training is building bone density through weight resistance training, which is slow motion training. And the MED, the minimum effective doses, is only 25 minutes. And you need only 4 meters square. You don't need to go to the gym. You don't need to go to somewhere. You just need 4 meters square.
Okay, I need to add a story. Yeah. So just imagine Noah comes by to train with me. I said, perfect. We have this gym and this gym. Here are all the weights. He said, Michael, we don't need this. And we did something called animal
flow.
Animal flow. Yeah. It was it's one of the hardest things I ever did, and it was like you feel muscles you never believe you had. So you kind of act to be different animals. I don't know how to say.
Yeah,
but
it's
you
mostly,
use your body.
Look, you want to brand it as something that people can accept.
Yeah.
So that's why we call it animal flow. But actually, it's just moving your joints and giving the complexity to the joints and the range of motion, which most bodybuilders, most top athletes, and we train a lot of top athletes, and they do these exercises, and they have a very difficult time to actually execute these.
So it's not
only you.
No. God, so okay.
And it's to make your put lubricant in your joints, because training is one of the most, if not the most important biomarker, especially leg strength. You want to make sure you never, ever get injured. That's your number. If training is the most important, you don't want to get injured. Yes, so by oiling your joints, you make sure you get injured. Yeah.
Good. So wonderful. Thank you so much. So number one, sleep, but make sure to have the right sleep.
Exactly.
One question I have with sleep is now Brian Johnson, for example, says he has a cover over his bed, what cools down the bed.
Yes.
I say, okay, now I have more electric in my bedroom. I don't want to have electric.
Exactly.
So what's your take on this?
No, I agree with him. The right temperature is between 16 to 19 degrees Celsius but
should
cool
you
down.
Now cool down your mattress and put electric X on top?
No, I prefer not. I prefer not. And that's the reason why I don't wear any Whoop or Oura Ring or any other device. I've just did a test where we tested you without anything electric on your body. And we tested you with, and you saw how your force went down, your power went down, just by wearing
with
a
and
phone.
without a phone or a wearable. And that's why I decided to wear it not so often anymore, because it's just not good to have always electric on your
you're
body.
You're an electrical being, right? So you're disturbing your electrical resonance and loads, let's say. So that's why I don't prefer to do that. But definitely a cooler room is definitely, and a lot of people think about sleeping, how to go in sleep. It's also how your sleep routine starts when you wake up. So that's very important. Looking in the sun in the morning, very important.
But we did to really enjoy the morning sun. I think it also is one of the biohacks. Maybe mention
100%. 100%. It resets your circadian rhythm and it's make melatonin on the right moment of the day. If you have any jet lag, just wake up and then it will reset your jet lag faster.
So basically, let's we say sleep. We say also cooling. Of course cool sleep. Then, but of course also sport, exercise. But something what helps for your bones. What else?
Yeah. Also, the harder you train, the deeper you sleep. So that's also it's kind of a visual. Then the gut. The gut, you have to think like this. You have 400 times more melatonin receptors in your gut than in your brain.
Wow.
So your sleep is created in your gut. And then serotonin is created in your gut. And serotonin is a precursor of melatonin, right? So making sure that your gut, most people when they're sleeping, they're actually not sleeping. They're actually digesting the food they ate, that dinner. So your goal is at least to not eat 4 to 6 hours before, the longer the better. So before your bed. Before going to bed. Your sleep will be deeper, the melatonin production will be more efficient. So optimizing your gut is one, if not the most important factor for energy.
How can we do this?
By making sure that, it's a whole protocol, but making sure anything processed does not enter your body. That is the rule number one. Again, it's not about what to eat, it's about what to eliminate, right? No alcohol, obviously, that disrupt. We had a study, just 1 glass of red wine every 2 weeks will disrupt your neural pathways in your brain and in your gut.
It's interesting. I met David Sinclair at Harvard, and we had a discussion about this because he actually also changed his mind now. Before he said, no, 1 glass is fine. But there are now studies, and it's also interesting how fast I think the studies now develop. So if you really want to know about peak performance, you need to have mentors, you need to get 100%. About it, because I think in the last 2 years with AI, the studies and scientific proof that came out is
through AI also.
Especially through
AI helped a lot.
What like the last 2 years was so much studies came out as I think centuries as before.
Yes.
So it's exponential.
On cancer, we have now a lot of data.
So it's exponential more knowledge we get now. I think that's super interesting.
And also we are a bit obsessed with science and data, and the data team that we have in the company, and some simple thing like resveratrol. Like everyone says, oh, resveratrol is good and you can get it from red wine. Well, yes, but you need to have to drink 400 glasses per day to get the amount that your body needs. So,
I tried to do this once. It's a long day. But good. Thank you. So we learned again sleep. Actually, first of all, spouse. Then like to have the right partner in business, I believe, and also at home, because sometimes you spend at business also a lot of time.
Yes.
Then of course sleep. Then of course also we said also having your electric things maybe away, but also your gut, especially you said.
Your gut especially.
What about also with eating? Because nowadays I don't know what to eat anymore, right?
Yes.
Because you go to supermarket, you have organic milk.
Yes.
Is it really organic? Is there still antibiotics in there? I would say yes.
Yeah. Well, the word organic doesn't mean anything. The word organic means that the animal ate plants, and that's it. So you still can be full of vaccines, full of hormones, full of antibiotics, full of acidic grains. So you want to find a regenerative farm. You want to in your area, and they exist. It's like a woman wanting to buy Louboutin shoes. Suddenly she sees other women way more. Or if you want to buy a specific car, suddenly you see other owners of that car because your brain, the part in the front, will focus more on that. So once you decide, okay, let me optimize my source, which is, by the way, out of everything that you can do, is one of the top 3 things you can do. The source, you can be multimillionaire, a billionaire, have enough wealth, but if you are eating shit, you will become shit. And if you eat animals or plants that are being fed shit, you're gonna be, you are not only what you eat, you are also what they eat, right? What the animals are eating. So you wanna definitely be an expert in finding the right sources. And in any country, you have, here, this region also in UAE, and there are 3 flights per week from Spain, from Italy, from France, from New Zealand, from Japan, from Australia. There is no reason for you not to go there to one of these favorite countries of you, find a farmer that is obsessed with his soil, and create a deal where he sends you every week, every 2 weeks, a crate with the things that you like to eat. And you know, it's organic, it's ecological, it's seasonal, and it's regenerative.
People would now ask me, what is Noah eating? I can say one evening you came to my place and you said, I will bring some food, and it was only meat. So it was like a whole box, and I thought, okay, we have to put it now on ice because it will last for a week, but we actually were eating this evening only meat. Yeah. So this is also okay.
Yeah, totally. Like me, if the source is healthy and clean, meat is very good. Organs are very good. Bone marrow are very good. Bone broth is amazing. So it's not that I only eat meat, by the way, but definitely animal protein is high on my list.
How often do you think we should eat per day?
It depends. I have a 4-2-1 protocol, which I eat. I intermittent fast 4 days per week. I feast 2 days per week, and I water fast 1 day per week.
Maybe say again, how long can people be without food and water?
They can be without food for 30 days that we have documented. But we have also a lot of
people are so proud and we said, oh, I did 5 hours intermittent fasting. Yes. I mean, we can be without food for 30 days.
Yeah, you can survive 30 days without food, 3 days without water, and a couple of minutes without oxygen. So if you want to feed your brain and your heart and your organs, breathe deeper. Most people use only 30% of their lungs. That's why breathwork is very important in your life, to implement that as part of your diet.
And I do this. We did this also together with our entrepreneurship group, Unicorn Society. And I think it's impressive what you can do by just breathing.
Amazing.
For 10 minutes with a bit more conscious as you normally have.
Yeah, I stayed with Wim Hof for a couple of weeks at his home in Poland. And the power that breathwork influenced my life, it was beyond my imagination. I never thought. I just came out of an accident, and I was in a wheelchair, and I had several hernias, and they just disappeared by combining breath work and ice therapy, cold therapy.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of ice baths. I do this like regularly. And there's also this story with you and Wim Hof. So I like you always go and learn from, different groups and people. That's why I also started the Unicorn Society for entrepreneurs who really want to, go the extra mile. You joined us last weekend here in Dubai. And I think it's always good to do this.
Amazing, was it? In the desert. And,
And we did a desert walk, for 5 hours, just be by yourself. And walk through the desert, then come together to a camp and talk a lot about not only business, but also longevity and biohacking. And that's what you also did with Wim Hof. I had also the chance to meet him once, but there's a special story with you when you guys walked in Poland to one of the highest mountains there. I think it was fully snow, and all you were wearing was like your shorts. And then some special forces from Poland were coming. I don't know what they called, Marine there, like with full gear. And oxygen masks. And they looked at you guys and said, man, you crazy. And they came and did some selfies with you.
Yeah, that was it was a 2.5 hour walk up to the mountains. It was he did that a couple of times, all in the beginning of his career. This was the last year that he did it. After that, he stopped because he thought it was too dangerous, and he became just too famous. So he was too much exposed. But when we did that, it was a 2.5 hour walk, and the temperature went from -5 to -10 to -15 to -20 to up to -28 degrees.
And you had only a basic
We had only shorts and
no shoes.
And shoes, shorts and shoes. And just by breathing, I could manage the temperature of my skin. the pain receptors of my skin, my parasympathetic system. It was unbelievable for me to have this awareness. I had cold. It was cold, but I had no pain. Right?
And that's so interesting to be able to keep your mind. And I know that the moment the Marine came and did selfies with you, your mind slipped a bit, but then you remembered again, let's go to the breathing back. And that's also what we did last weekend to do this breathing. I think that's so important.
Yes.
Just at one point when you walked into the final place.
Yes, when we arrived at the top of the mountain, I entered, there was a small hut with kind of a restaurant that sells some drinks and food. I entered in it and there was a group of girls between like 14 and 16. And they looked at me and they saw a half-naked guy entering in that bar. and they started to laugh. And I laughed because they laughed. But then I lost my focus. And all my cold blood that was in my hands, in my feet, got mixed with my warm blood in my organs. And I started to shake uncontrollably for like at least 45 minutes. So that's the power of focus. It can even tell the blood not to enter your organs, the cold blood.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting with our minds, the power of focus. And we can say that in these situations, but also in business.
Totally.
You know, to really stay on one point, on one focus, what I think what you master as well. What is your superpower that you were able to be so successful in business, but also now that you got this knowledge as well?
I think consistency is a superpower. And just filtering noise from reality. Because a lot of people, they always want to get the new gadget, the new hype, or peptides, stem cells, exosomes, unispheruses, EBU. There is so many things you can do. And then focusing on being consistent on the foundation, for me, is like the true superpower.
What is one of the, let's say, popular health or biohacking trend you believe is complete bullshit? And why would people fall for it?
There's so many.
It is a lot, actually. Yeah.
Probiotics is definitely great and also very dangerous. And people, and I see a lot of women and men with candida in their body they're taking probiotics like candy. Another one is supplements. You can get kidney failure from zinc or B12. Supplements are drugs. They're man-made. They are synthesized in a lab. There is no plant, nor animal, no tree where you can take your zinc or magnesium from. And they need to be taken based on blood work. And blood work that has a reference range of 1950, not 2025. The reference range of today has nothing to do with optimal range. They have to do with survival ranges. And you don't want to survive, you want to thrive. So that's, I think, one also of the things that are...
Because this is a bit, I asked this question because it's so difficult to have a clear path today. You know, like I like ice baths, or not like, but I believe in the benefits of it. But if you ask too many people, there are also now people saying, okay, ice baths can kill you because a person had a heart attack. So it's difficult. But
you will not get a heart attack from ice baths, but you do need to... A man and a woman are different. So a woman is not a small man. She's a woman with different biological and hormonal processes, and she should not take ice bath in a certain period of the month. And men, sometimes they don't need an ice bath. They need a warm bath with magnesium and Epsom salt, right? To relax the parasympathetic system, to relax their body. So it's not there is not one protocol for everyone. You need to...
Yeah. So it's an individual approach.
I always advise to have an individual approach because we are all different and we have a different phase in our life. If you're 18, it's going to be different than if you're 81.
Yes, 100%. On the other hand, there are still things with sleep or, having also enough water. Is that also drinking enough?
Yes. Drinking, I think water is one of the biggest myths. Drinking 2, 3, 4 liters per day.
Yeah.
You don't need water. You need minerals. And you get your minerals by drinking water. Unfortunately, the water nowadays in supermarkets has no minerals or an unoptimized form of minerals. So that's why I advise people, instead of drinking pure water, adding any type of vegetables in it, like lemon and sea salt, to have enough.
What sea salt would you recommend?
I advise sea salt that is have a low aluminium percentage.
Where should it be produced?
To be honest with you, there is some brands that test on aluminium and other heavy metals. And all sea salts have heavy metals, there is one brand that has a lower, and you can Google it, like the brands with lowest aluminium count.
What's the dark side of high performance nobody really wants to talk about, and how do you protect yourself from it? Is there something?
Yeah, like a lot of people that wants to become a high performer, or that they think they are a high performer, they focus on gadgets and they create a Frankenstein protocol, which combination between ChatGPT, between Google, between asking some other influencers and biohackers and doctors. And the reason how I know this is because 18% of our patients are medical doctors, and there is not one doctor that knows everything. And that's why we have a medical team. And when we get a patient, we look at it from a different angles. And that's why we call our clinic the longevity architect, because you need an architect that's gonna mix all your blood work, your symptoms, and your goals based on evidence-based science. I see that a lot in even biohackers. So that, I think, is a very dangerous thing to do, because, as I said, you don't want to live for 3, 4, 5, 10 years with a pathology that is inaccurate, or based on inaccurate science. And why I say inaccurate, because it takes 17.2 years on average between something being discovered and going mainstream. Why wait 17? And that's on average. Some of the things that we discovered are 20, 30.
100%. That's why I like in your clinics, you give your people normally also one day to do research per week. And I think that's so essential. We all can learn as entrepreneurs, whatever field we have business in, to not forget to also do this research. And in health, where we thought, okay, health with body should be now discovered. We are far away.
The half-life of scientific medical knowledge is 76 days. That means you're a doctor, you just finished the course. In 76 days, you need to update your knowledge, because there's new knowledge.
Yeah. You're already here. Let's build this relationship. If you're still watching, there's a reason. You're not here for the noise. You're here for the real story. So join us properly, subscribe. Let's stay close and let's grow this conversation and this group together. If you would lose, like I say, everything tomorrow, right? Your money, your health, your status, what would be the first habit or mindset you would rebuild to come back stronger?
I believe in resilience, and I believe in your network, your inner circle. If tomorrow I lose everything, I've given so much value to my network that I know my network will help me go back again where I went. I think that's, I'm discovering the older I get that your network is your net worth. So that's...
would be that also your hint you would give your younger self?
100%.
Let's say if you meet 20-year-old Noah, is that what you would tell him?
I will tell him focus on creating a product for the wealthy avatar, and then after helping the wealthy avatar, create a mass product. That's what I will do.
If, let's say, we would have a camera on you for 24 hours, what would surprise most people? What you do or don't do?
That I sport in the most awkward places, from airports to
planes.
Anytime I get the chance to move, I use it, because for me, sitting is the new smoking.
Yeah, I know. We had a meeting and you were also walking around saying, like me, I like that. And also, like, not to forget to stretch. That's also something what I always like to do, and also saw from you to actively to do this.
Yeah.
What do we still see from you in the future? What's your big vision and goal still?
Oh, I mean, we are now expanding rapidly in the world with where we combine biohacking modalities with medical modalities, things like stem cells and things like exosomes and peptides and hormone optimization and restoration, but then combine it with infrared saunas and ice bath and cold therapy, but also quantum testing, where we test your body in a non-invasive way, just through scanning. And we can go very deep on a cellular level. So combining, I think, biohacking with foundation elements and medical elements is going to be very powerful.
So you think the person who will be 200 years old is already born today?
A lot of people ask me in congresses, is it true that now we're going to live until 120, 150 or 200. Maybe. I have no proof yet and no one has. But what I prefer to tell you and to ask you is focus on optimizing your life today. The byproduct will be definitely longer living.
And it's also, of course, about quality
Yes.
living instead not only.
Exactly. If you focus on today, you're just going to have more an amazing life.
Yeah, no, true, for sure. All right, interesting. So I'm super excited to see still what comes in the future. I always enjoy our chats.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Last but not least, AI. How much will AI change us in the future when it comes to also peak performance health?
I mean, AI is already changing us. It's just not yet mainstream on mass products, on a mass phases. So I believe, and what I'm seeing, for example, with our doctors, we have in our clinic, we have a digital brain, right? Where our internal team, the nurses, the doctors, can ask a question, and that digital brain is being fed by all our doctors, all our nutritionists, and we have one architect that makes sure that the data that enters is accurate. And it's being already used. Like now we have way less meetings to discuss a patient because everything is that digital brain. And that's going to be way more accessible to everyone, from a person in India, in a village, to Africa, but also to Manhattan and Amsterdam.
Right. Just the benefit that this digital brain is not forgetting everything.
Exactly. And democratizing medical knowledge, right? Yeah. On a regenerative and on a very specific person. If you're 76 and you had just a hip injury, okay, how to get back on track? And that digital brain can assist you and help you in implementing the newest modalities if you have $200 per year or $200,000 per year. Right? So that's very powerful.
Noah, thank you so much for the open and very informative
thank you.
talk.
Thank you
so much.
Before you go, a quick note to all the entrepreneurial listeners out there. If you're looking for a reliable and efficient way to scale your online business and payments, I highly recommend checking out CopeCart.com. It's designed to streamline your processes from payment processing to customer management, all in one platform. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to scale up, CopeCart provides the tools you need to succeed. Visit CopeCart.com today and see how it can transform your business operations. Dive in and start optimizing your sales processes now.